My dear friends, today we shall consider the sixth and the ninth commandments for our reflections. As the sixth commandment is akin to or related to the ninth commandment, we shall take them together. The sixth commandment says, "You shall not commit adultery." And the ninth commandment says, "You shall not covet your neighbor's wife." We shall take the sixth commandment first. The sixth commandment says, "You shall not commit adultery." Jesus has already denounced this commandment, this Mosaic commandment about committing adultery. He intensified or radicalized the commandment, saying, "Everyone who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart." This is intensification. This is radicalization. This is strengthening the commandment. Similarly, in the ninth commandment, it will be more or less the same when Jesus says, "You shall not look at a woman with lust in your heart." But that goes good also for the ninth commandment. As the sixth commandment is related or akin to the ninth commandment, we will have them together. Jesus said, "You have heard that it was said to the men of old that you shall not kill." We have already seen that. "But I say to you, everyone who is angry with his brother is liable to judgment." Similarly, in the ninth commandment also, here the sixth commandment, Jesus equates lustful glance with judgment, as he equated anger with murder in the fifth commandment. In the intensification of the law on adultery, on murder, Jesus not only forbids murder but also anger. Similarly, in the ninth commandment, Jesus not only forbids coveting a neighbor's wife or taking a neighbor's wife, but also lustful look at her. So these are equalized in the mind of Jesus. So the sixth commandment, "You shall not commit adultery," has a far-reaching consequence. Not only just the act of committing adultery, but also the intention of the heart. You shall not look at a woman with lust in your mind. Under the sixth commandment, there are certain issues that also forbid morally acceptable, unacceptable acts and crimes. I shall mention these very briefly. First of all, against the sixth commandment is fornication. Fornication is a sexual relationship between two unmarried people. Fornication is gravely contrary to the dignity of persons and human sexuality. It is a serious violation of the sixth commandment. Another element is pornography. One of the ways of defining pornography is that it is an exhibition of human sexuality. Another way of understanding pornography is the real or simulated act of sexual acts in order to display them to others. It is a grave offense, and civil authorities must make laws prohibiting the production and distribution of pornographic materials. A third element is rape, again against the Sixth Commandment. Rape is the forcible violation of the sexual privacy or intimacy of another person. Rape destroys dignity, respect, freedom, and physical and moral integrity of a person to which he has every right. It is always an intrinsic evil, and as such, it is a serious offense against the Sixth Commandment. Worse still is the rape committed by parents or those entrusted with the education of children. The commandment says, do not commit adultery. Another element, again, contrary to the Sixth Commandment, is prostitution. Prostitution reduces a person who engages in it to an instrument of sexual pleasure. Prostitution is a social scourge. It usually involves women, but also men and adolescents and even children. All these are serious violations of the Sixth Commandment, which says, do not commit adultery. Now we come to the Ninth Commandment, which says, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife. You shall not desire your neighbor's wife. You shall not take or you shall not possess your neighbor's wife. Apparently there is some confusion or lack of understanding or overlapping about the content of the Ninth Commandment in the book of Exodus. In the old days, a woman was considered not as a person, but as one of the items that a man possessed. This view is present in the book of Exodus tradition in the Ninth Commandment, which shows that the wife is one of the possessions of the man. He possesses his house, his manservants, maidservants, his ox, his ass, his wife, etc. So, wife is a possession, an item that a man possessed. That is the meaning, that is what we understand from the book of Exodus. Whereas in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, verse 21, it's quite differently put. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife is presented as a commandment by itself. The other things that follow, namely, you shall not covet your neighbor's house, neighbor's manservants, maidservants, his possessions, his oxen, his asses, etc., come afterwards. Those are the possessions of a man. But a wife is different. Wife is given a distinct personality and individuality in the book of Deuteronomy. It is this Deuteronomistic view of woman that the church has taken as the ninth commandment and separately put it as a ninth commandment, not with his oxen or asses or anything. Name you shall not covet your neighbor's house, his field, his manservant, his maidservant, etc. That is the possession of the neighbor. You shall not desire, you shall not possess, you shall not appropriate these things from your neighbor. Anything that is your neighbor's, you shall not take. Exodus 20:17. And same idea is there in Deuteronomy 5:21 and the following, 21 following. The ninth commandment says, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife. Jesus has said that everyone who looks at a woman lustfully has committed adultery in his heart. The commandment warns against lust or carnal concupiscence, which is against God's law in creation, which is against God's life of monogamy in creation. Genesis 1:27-28 to 2:24. Both adultery and coveting or desiring the neighbor's wife are against a happy, peaceful, monogamous life that God is intending for man. These are divine prohibitions. You shall not commit adultery, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, etc. These are divine prohibitions, and as such they are serious, and the violation of these are serious violations of the commandment, involving serious consequences with persons, with families, and with society as such.